booktube, Matt here from Science Fiction Reads with the haul I have hoped for and been waiting for, and was a complete success. I went to a nearby annual book sale. It's in a warehouse, it's massive, and it's all kind of by donation. The books are by donation, but the books in general are very cheap, so I spent ultimately not that much for a massive pile of books. And I'm going to split this into two videos, I think. The first one we're going to do short story collections and anthologies. And we're going to do this first because I would say, biggest and most cool find, most exciting find of the day. It's a short story collection signed. It'll be, I guess, the last book we look at in this video. And then probably a couple days after this one, I'll release the novels. Pretty much all vintage science fiction, some really cool stuff. And like I said, I've been waiting for this sale for quite a while now. I went last year, and it was probably the biggest book haul of the year. So we went, my partner and I went, and there were 50 advance tickets for sale. So we bought one each, and that got 50 people in half an hour early. So we were standing in line, just waiting to get in. And just kind of jokingly, I happened to say to my partner, damn, I should have worn my Science Fiction Reads shirt, because a couple of years ago I had a t-shirt made with the logo. It would have been pretty cool if somebody saw the shirt and came up and was like, I watch your channel. And no sooner had I said that to her than a guy by the name of Brian steps out of the line and walks up to me and introduces himself as someone who watches the channel, is local to me, and watches some other booktube channels. And we had a nice chat. So that was really cool. And I guess in the second video, you'll see a Robert Howard book he recommended to me that I bought. And then I got home and realized, oh yeah, I have an omnibus of all the Conan stuff, so I probably actually won't hold on to it. And I'll show you one of my favorite books that I recommended to him that he did not take, so I bought it. And I'll pass it along to a friend or use it for a reread, so I don't have to read, or yeah, don't have to handle my nice hardcover in the future. But those will be in the next one. Brian, hello, it was nice meeting you. It was awesome, it was really cool. It was pretty much, out of those 50, it was really just him and I who were interested in the science fiction, so I think I was out of there in about 25 minutes. My partner was just following behind me with 2 boxes. I would just grab something, yep, I want that, put it in the box. So I really appreciate her for that, but it was a good time, and it was fun meeting somebody and being recognized in the wild for the first time. So, this first batch of books, there's probably 11 or 12 of them. I already own most of them in paperback, and you can see myself and Richard from Vintage SF and Ira from SF Words Wonder. Usually once a month we will, we just recently started this, read one of these, the best ofs by Ballantine Classic Library. The hardcovers though were all published by Nelson Doubleday, and I think the first one I read was the Lee Brackett. Yeah, the Best of Lee Brackett, I'm sure that's the first best of I read. And I fell in love with her. And eventually, Richard, Ira, and I did a discussion on this book. But my copy, I have a paperback now. I also had a hardcover, but it had no dust jacket. So not only does this have a dust jacket, but the book itself was in better shape. It's got a sun-faded spine. I wrapped it in a jacket, and actually this one and the next 2 I wrapped, but I forgot they had stickers on them for the book sale, so I'll have to take that off. But yeah, this is probably the nicest jacket out of them. Maybe the next one. But yeah, we read these once a month. There is, and then we have a discussion video. There's 21 of them or something, and I have all but 2. But I found, you know, nearly half of them. And actually I missed a couple, and Brian pointed them out to me. So let's go through them. This is one we haven't read yet, the best of Elsfreg de Camp, and possibly the best cover art. These are all book club editions. So, you know, American book club editions have usually really great cover art. And this one is also in excellent condition. And a lot of these book clubs feel like stiff, as if they haven't been opened in years or possibly ever. Certainly they were well taken care of. And this is one we will, I imagine, eventually get to. But really excellent cover art. I just want to see if there's credit for these. I don't see actual credit for an author on the front, but it does say Corbin in the corner. I'm not sure which artist that is, but I absolutely love that. When I showed pictures of these to Ira and Richard in our little Voxer discussion, Ira pointed out really liking this cover art, and it reminded me of a Mike Resnick, which I'll post up somewhere, that a small press, I believe, put out. I can't remember if the guy on the cover is supposed to look like Mike Resnick. If it is, that's hilarious and awesome. Another one we haven't read, but I'm really excited to find, The Best of Henry Cutner. This is the third one that I wrapped in a Brodart dust jacket. I'm gonna have to make an order, get some more, because there's already some others I want to wrap, and now I have a bunch that I want to wrap. This is also in good condition. Introduction by Ray Bradbury. These all came out in about the 70s. Yeah, Cutner is one I'm looking forward to. I don't think I will read anything by him until we get to the best of. Because my introduction to Lee Brackett, Edmund Hamilton, C.L. Moore was all through the best ofs. And I love all those authors now. This is not part of the best ofs by Ballantine, but I do have two here that are also best ofs and hardcovers. This is the best of Walter M. Miller Jr., who wrote A Canticle for Leibowitz. I haven't read anything by him aside from maybe a short story. But this is a book club edition by Pocket Books. It's just not part of the collection that we're reading and discussing. And the same goes for the best of Damon Knight, which is published by Nelson Doubleday, which most of the other best ofs are. I've had this in the past and sold it, but I do have dreams of when we buy a new house in the next coming year of having hopefully probably not quite double the shelves, but really have space to expand the library. I have a couple boxes of book club editions, and I don't know, I feel like they're making a resurgence. I've always kind of liked them, but I have lots, and I would love to have a shelf just dedicated to book club editions. Here's the best of Frederick Pohl, another one I had, but only without a dust jacket. And I don't have it in paperback either, so this is nice, and again, in nice condition. Introduction by Lester Del Rey. He is one I am looking forward to reading. I also want to read Gateway by him sometime soon. The Best of Fritz Liber. This is the author we just discussed. The video was just released, I don't know, a week ago, not even, on Richard's channel, Vintage SF. And it was a good time. It was our return to the series. We took a bit of a break. And I think the consensus was there were some really good stories and the rest kind of mediocre. But then once we got to discussing it, we kind of all agreed we enjoyed it more than we thought. Again, this jacket is, you know, aside from the spine, it's in pretty good shape. So obviously somebody just donated their whole best of collection. Now, when I went last year, I did not go on day one, or I think I went on day 3, and the selection was excellent, and I got a bunch of those DA hardcover year's best. So another similar score, the best of Lester Del Rey. This is one I do have in paperback, but again, this jacket is not bad. Well, I guess the back is not great. This is another one that has kind of a stiff spine. I feel like these were really taken care of. I am going to step out and let the cat in because, of course, she wants in once I start. Say hi. Hello. Now, continuing on, this is another one we read, The Best of Frederick Brown, with an introduction by Robert Bloch. This was the one we read prior to the Fritz Liber. I always like when other booktubers show the contents. The Best of John W. Campbell. This might be one of my favorites with in terms of cover art. And also just the spine. I mean, that looks awesome. Yeah, I have read this, and Who Goes There was really the only standout. But it was excellent, which of course is the story that was made into the movie The Thing by John Carpenter. The Best of Cornwater Smith. I don't know if that was the first Cornwater Smith I read, but I absolutely loved it. I since got rid of the book. I'll be keeping this one because I guess I'm going to keep all of these for some hypothetical day in the future when I have the space for a shelf dedicated to best ofs. There's no point getting rid of them when I have about half of them now. Here's one that fills a gap, The Best of CM Bluth. I did not have this in paperback or hardcover. And I think there's only two more I need from this series, which would be The Best of Eric Frank Russell and The Best of Murray Leinster, which I would love to find that one. I haven't read a lot of Murray Leinster, but I've loved or enjoyed most of it. And the last one, another one I already have, but it was actually, I think, no, it was not in better shape. Yeah, this is the one I got. The Best of Edmund Hamilton. This one not in as good shape as the one I have, or some of the others here. So this I actually won't keep, since I already have it. There is a friend of mine who may be interested in this in France, if you want to get in touch, but I don't. You probably don't want the hardcover, but we'll see. It's yours if you want it. And that's the best ofs. I was really happy to find those. I couldn't believe it. They were maybe $2 a piece. So let's get into some randoms here. Check this out. Ursula K. Le Guin's Science Fiction Writing Workshop. The Altered One, edited by Lee Harding. What the hell is this, you ask? Well, in 1975, 20 SF writers isolated themselves in remote Australia and began, under the leadership of Ursula K. Le Guin, a bizarre series of exercises designed to deliberately alter their human and literary perceptions with the intention of exploring and, if possible, expanding the outer limits of science fiction. That's the most 70s synopsis I've ever read. The only names I recognize are the editor and Ursula K. Le Guin, but, you know, what a curio. This is such a random thing. I kind of looked this up, but not in much detail, so I'm not entirely sure what it is we have here, but it certainly sounds interesting, and for like $1, it was worth picking up. Or selling on eBay, I don't know. That's another thing I should have mentioned. Sometimes I put out these book hauls, and I get comments that I'm bordering on hoarder territory, or I buy more books than I read, and that can lead to a problem. But you got to keep in mind, especially with sales like this, first and foremost, I'm always looking to fill gaps in my collection, find stuff I haven't heard of that sounds interesting, or just things I've been looking for. And secondly, I'm there to find books that I can pass along to friends or sell, because that's how I fund my book buying. I sell on eBay. So yeah, there is a lot of books going to be in these two videos. I will keep probably a quarter or a third, and half of them will be in storage anyway. But it's fun. It's fun finding books in the wild that you've been looking for. It's also fun selling something on eBay and knowing you gave somebody else that feeling, like they've gotten that book that they were on the lookout for, or that they wanted for a long time. I like that. So I have a random anthology here. The Road to Science Fiction #2, From Wells to Heinlein, edited and introduction by James Gunn. James Gunn, who I recently just read for the first time, 3 of his novellas, which were just okay. I am looking forward to his other book, The Travelers, I think. I need to read that sometime. Possibly going to buddy read it with Ira at Vintage SF. Or that would be Richard. Richard, you can join us. Possibly going to read that with Ira from SF Words of Wonder. So I think this is focused... Oh no, I'm thinking of something else, yeah. So yeah, just a random anthology. But when I got to looking at it, I probably won't actually keep this one. There's not much of interest. Because I have other stuff like this. A mentor book. I don't even know if I've heard of that publisher. Oh, a mentor book, New American Library. Yeah, random. There was lots of random stuff like this. I probably would have grabbed even more, but like I said, I filled 2 boxes and it's time to go after that point. Nebula Award Stories #5. I haven't even yet opened this up. I don't know what's in it. It's a pocketbook from... Well, Double a Day had an edition in 1970. This is a pocketbook from 72. We've got stories from Harlan Ellison, Ursula K. Le Guin, Silverberg, Niven, Delaney, Surgeon, Alexei Panshin, and D. Suvin. So, I recognize everybody but D. Suvin on the next page here. Something I might keep or might pass along. The cover art, I would guess Richard Powers, but I'm not seeing a credit, unfortunately. Another random anthology here, The Future at War, Volume 3, Orion Sword, edited by Reginald Bretnor. I don't even remember picking this up. I don't think I'll keep it. I'm not interested in stories about, you know, a whole book of military SF. Not really probably my thing. Yeah, probably won't be keeping that one. These are a couple neat finds that I will be passing along because I don't need huge versions like this, but 2 Frank Herberts here, The God Emperor of Dune, with, looks to me like, yeah, an incredibly faded spine, which is unfortunate. These are really cool because you can line them up and the cover art kind of goes together. Frederick Marvin is the cover artist. These were put out by Berkeley in the early 80s. So, God Emperor of Dune, but I also have Chapter House Dune. So, I believe they roughly line up. Right? Yeah, sort of. So yeah, I probably won't keep these. I've had 1 or 2 of them in the past, but I hate giant trade paperbacks. They don't fit on the shelves, not easily. Here's a neat one. I'm not going to keep it. Actually, I might. I don't know. It's C.J. Cherry's Cytine. It must be a first edition. This book was very annoyingly split into 3 or possibly 4 parts. In paperback form, anyway. Multiple times over the years, I've tried to get this. I think it's connected to her large future history. What is it? Like the corporate wars or something. Corporations and different fleets of different spacecraft have different communities and divide up the galaxy or something. It's been a long time since I read any of that stuff, but I like C.J. Cherry. I have a signed book from her in the next... Possibly signed. It's hard to tell in the next video. But yeah, it was split up for some reason. But this is presumably a first edition. Yeah. Oh, and it's got a big, long inscription. Given to somebody as a gift in the year of my birth. Yeah, it's a first. Oh, we've got maps. Oh, there's an island called High Brazil, which is cool. Because this is not a map of Earth, but High Brazil is a mythical island. I think it was off the coast of England or something that, I don't know. Throughout history, it was reported being seen a couple times, but either sunk or never existed. One of those things I was obsessed with reading about when I was younger. We have a anthology by Norman Spinrad, modern science fiction. I haven't read much Spinrad. Yeah, I think the only Spinrad I've read is his novel, aside from short stories, The Void Captain's Tale, which was just okay. Spaceships powered by female orgasms or something. It was way out there. But this caught my eye right away with the minimalist cover art. Looks like it was dedicated to Philip K. Dick, but here's the table of contents for anyone interested. Again, not sure if I'll keep this. I have other, collections similar, but it's cool. Lester Del Rey, The World of Science Fiction, A History of a Subculture, 1926 to 1976. This sounds interesting. This will have some pulp era authors that I'm curious about reading about. Curious if Raymond Galoon shows up in this, because we are reading the best of Raymond Galoon at the end of the month. So it could be an interesting reference book. I've got several boxed up because I don't have space for them. The only reference book probably not boxed up is Stephen E. Andrews. That one right there. Another random. I could not pass up something like this. This is such a curio. SF, Inventing the Future by R. Duncan Appleford. I believe this was printed and published in Ontario, Canada, where I am. Awesome cover. I think it's some stories and criticisms as well, essays. Yeah, this was from Scarborough, Ontario, which, it's like 2.5 hours from me. So, very curious. And for $1 or $2, I had to pick this up. Oh, an illustration. Here's a couple that probably shouldn't have been in this video, but some of Asimov's hardcovers, just essays and talking about science and stuff. I used to collect his fiction, but when I tried, or nonfiction, but I just kind of figured I'll probably never read this. I picked these up because they're $1, and sometimes when I get enough hardcover Asimovs or Clark's, I'll sell them as a lot on eBay. Quasar, Burning Bright. This is one I've had in paperback. The jackets are great, but the books themselves they feel stiff and unread. All right, I have some Silverberg here, an anthology and short story collections, but also some really cool Silverberg in the next video. This is The New Atlantis and Other Novellas of Science Fiction, edited by Silverberg, and we've got Gene Wolfe, James Chipchey Jr., and Ursula K. Le Guin. And this is not the only anthology of 3 novellas that I've come across by Silverberg. He's got one that had a Joan Vinge story in it that I absolutely loved, which led me to buy her short story collection, which had more stuff in it that I loved. I can't think of it at the moment. I'll have to put up a picture. But yeah, this is from, I believe, 1975. And again, even now on eBay, I have several collections of stories edited by Silverberg. Here is a short story collection by him, World of a Thousand Colors. I think this is a first, by Arbor House. Yeah, from 1982. And similar to that, but with a much more exciting cover art, we have The Feast of Saint Dionysus, 5 science fiction stories by Robert Silverberg. This needs to get put in a Bro Dust jacket. What an awesome aesthetic. And a really cool illustration of maybe a spaceman and also like a maybe primitive woman looking at this ancient city. Very cool. I would love to see if we have credit for the artist. Doesn't look like it. Frustrating. Oh, here we go. David Lunn. Well, it says jacket designed by David Lunn. And we have a book plate in here. To George, love something Caitlin from January 16th, 1980. I used to be really annoyed by stuff like this or inscriptions, but actually I've come to, you know, unless it's a valuable book, I've come to enjoy them. Here's one that was recommended to me a long time ago. It's been recommended by lots of people. Richard has it. I think Stephen Andrews has it. But it was recommended to me by Sean Stanfast, but also Scott Bryant, who recently passed away. He had an excellent booktube channel with his wife, Becky. I have other David Hartwell collections. Oh, I don't have them up anymore. He had a really excellent collection about hard SF that I loved. Put me onto a couple new authors. And he has one on space opera I need to track down. But this is a nice find. I would have liked having it in hardcover because the others of his I have or want hardcover, but this is excellent to have. Everyone in here from, you know, Campbell, Vonnegut, Ballard, Sturgeon, Arthur C. Clarke, like this is massive. Louis Paget, The Proud Robot. That would be, I believe, Cutner and Moore. And then ironically, the story right under it is Vintage Season by Cutner and Moore. One of the best C.L. Moore stories I've read is Vintage Season. So that was a sweet find. It probably cost me $2. All right, we're getting down near to the end, getting to the most exciting book find of the whole thing. Here I have The Engines of Recall, a collection of 10 short stories by Carl Schroeder. And it's signed, which is awesome. He's a Toronto author. I have read several of his books, but 2 I absolutely loved were Permanence and Ventus. I have 2 nice hardcovers of them. And this will probably go on the shelf and join them. I don't think I'll get rid of this. For Elena, Carl Schroeder. I meant to look up if these are all thematically like connected or if it's just 10 randoms, because the synopsis sounds interesting. But yeah, that's cool. I was quite excited when I saw that. I don't care that it's signed, but I do look forward to reading more Carl Schroeder. Just so underrated in my opinion. I mean, I know he's won awards and stuff, but he's not talked about much on booktube from my experience. And Alfred Bester's collection, Starlight. I'd rather have it in paperback, but I think I'll keep this. It is a book club edition. And if I remember right, it has a comical dedication, I thought. Maybe it was a different book I was thinking of. Oh, no, here it is. For the fans, for the wonderful demented fans, which is a great Alfred Bester quote. Random, I know nothing about. North by 2000, a collection of Canadian science fiction by H.E. Hargreaves. Stories that take place in locations local to me, but are science fictional. So a total random. I think it was published in the early 80s. Let me see here. No, it's 1975. Yeah, I don't know the author, sadly, but I don't know, it's a sharp-looking little hardcover. Another Asimov, The Complete Stories, Volume 1. Possibly I already have this in a box, so I'm not sure if I'll be keeping this. But again, I pick stuff up like this because once I have several, I just combine them into a box and try to sell them that way. But yeah, there was tons of Asimov stories here. This was put out in 1990. All right, 3 more, and then we get to the best find of the whole trip. The Arbor House Treasury of Great Science Fiction Short Novels, compiled by Robert Silverberg and Martin Greenberg. The Bergs. I was thinking The Burbs. The Burbs, great movie. Let's see, there's another kind of a companion piece to this book coming up too. This was put out in 1980. And there's your table of contents. But similar to that, we have an even larger hardcover. The Arbor House Treasury of Modern Science Fiction, compiled by Silverberg and Greenberg again. This one's a real tome. And all the authors in there. Let's see. I do like Arbor House. Some of my nicest looking hardcovers are from Arbor House. This was also from 1980. It's just super frustrating that they're slightly different sizes. But there is tons of stuff in here. And then we have, it's a shame, this book, The Visual Encyclopedia of Science Fiction, it's been wrapped in black tape, but from what I can tell, underneath, I kind of peeled some off. Like, the book is in fine condition, except for now it's covered in tape that can't be removed without ruining it, really. But this is just a cool thing that I've kind of always had my mind on picking up if I could find it. I'm not sure who E.V. Pratt is. Edited by Brian Ash and put out by Harmony Books in 1977. I mean, there's lots of cool, awesome cover art and stuff in here. We got the cover art for Michael Bishop that was supposed to be my last book haul, but it fell behind the computer and it did not make it. This is just going to be an awesome reference book to have. This was $1 or $2. Here's Paul Anderson's Brainwave, which you'll see in the very next video I put out. Yeah, just something awesome to have if you love vintage SF art, which I do. And, oh, actually, there's one thing down here I forgot. I couldn't pass this up for $15. The Complete Fireside by Gary Larson. I've dabbled in reading this from time to time. These are massive, massive, and it's the kind of thing I pick up to check out and then pass along again. Okay, and that brings us to the first book I found of the day, but I figured I'd leave it to the end of the video. This is a signed first edition Harlan Ellison Deathbird Stories. And I think there was another possibly signed Ellison beside it, but I saw it in a picture, but it was not there when I got there. Brian, did you scoop that up? This is a collection I already have in paperback, but check this out. Got Harlan's signature, and then on the copyright page, well, across from the copyright page, it looks like he's filled in his acknowledgments himself with a pen. As you can read, Borges, Poe, Kafka. So that's cool. And seemingly in, you know, pretty good shape. The jacket's a little tattered on the, you know, the top and bottom, but the book itself is nice, but now I see a couple old stains, but I don't think that'll deter too much from potential eBay buyers, which is where this book is destined to go. It's really cool to have something signed by him. I haven't read much Harlan Ellison, but I love watching him on YouTube. I love his rants. He had a great show for a while. A lot of the episodes are on YouTube. I can't think of the name right now, but maybe I'll put something up there. But yeah, I don't need this, and I will sell it and probably pay for, you know, all these books, because I already have a nice paperback of it. I can't remember where I got this, but yeah, this is in nice shape. So that was the big find. There's other signed books in the next video, and some books I'm quite excited to have found. But yeah, so the next will be almost all novels. But that's the first half. Some really cool stuff. Couldn't believe I found all those best ofs. And also pretty happy about the Carl Schroeder. That's, for me, a cool find. I highly recommend checking him out. Ventus and Permanence were space opera blended with hard SF, but really well written. Yeah, I don't hear him talked about much. So biggest find of the day. Hope you enjoyed it. I imagine the next one will come out several days, maybe a week after this one. As always, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.